How are we doing there, boys and girls? Manthieus here, welcome back to another video. So I want to talk for a few minutes about the NPC Work Orders again. As this beta build, we've had a little bit of an update, and it has improved some things. If you saw my little video on it last week, you'll have noticed that I pointed out that the system felt very randomized, and it didn't really feel as if it was actually designed to help you. And I was concerned that more often than not, it would just be an inconvenience and a hindrance to your actual progression in your professions. They've smoothed some of this out a little bit now, and I want to showcase to you what they've done, some of the changes that they've made, and get your thoughts on it, really. So, the big significant difference, well, hang on, let's just set the foundation first for a second here. This is a leatherworker. I've been simulating a sort of a first sort of beginning of the expansion leatherworker, somebody that's maybe, progressed some way with trainer recipes, has picked up the odd recipe here or there, doesn't have access to too much yet. They have not really done the legwork of going out into the world and trying to collect every single recipe they possibly can, farming every single spec point they possibly can. But this is probably one of the first scenarios where players might look at the NPC work order, so I think this is quite a valid simulation. If we head over to the NPC work orders, we will see that there is 16 orders available to me right here, right now. And the big notable difference straight away for many of you will be the fact that every single one is now offering some sort of reward. This is a change from last week. Last week, a lot of the orders just felt like the random trash you would find cluttering up your public list. They felt like the bait orders. They felt like the scam orders that we're so used to ignoring. So much so that some of us have even started to use add-ons to instantly filter them out so we don't even see them. At least this time round, every NPC work order is going to reward you with something. It may not be gold, you're certainly not going to get rich off this, but it might be offering you some other rewards. Last week, we got the first sneak peek that some of those rewards might be recipes. This week, we're getting an indication that every single order is going to give you some amount of artisan security. Now, I don't believe that this has been balanced yet. The numbers seem to be very random for the amount of artisan security it dishes out to you, but it seems to be between 5 and 30, dependent on the type of recipe that or the type of order that you fill. You can also find knowledge points occasionally. 2 knowledge points are on this one. You can sometimes find some orders that are going to give you a Artisans Consortium payout bag. Let's see if I can find one of those through fashion. As recording a video, I'm not going to be able to find one, am I? We'll see them in the mailbox in a minute. Here we go. Here's an Artisans Consortium payout bag. This is just a little bag of goodies. This is a little bag of mostly reagents, but occasionally it can give you a optional crafting reagent like this one, a finishing reagent, I should say. There's 4 new finishing reagents. These all are going to give you some skill, and they're an on-use item. So, also again, acting as a little bit of a catch-up system. You find something here. Here we go. You can see all 4 of them now. You might have spotted these if you've played with the professions. Plus 5 skill for this craft, plus 10, plus 20, and plus 40. Now, you're not going to get these every time, you're not going to get these all the time, but these are some finishing reagents that can be applied to basically any craft in the game, and will help you bridge that gap if either you've ran out of concentration, or even if with concentration you still you don't quite have enough skill yet. You can occasionally boost yourself a little bit. Those can come in those little goodie bags. But let's just fill a couple of orders. Let's first filter out things that we don't actually have the recipe for, which is instantly got rid of a lot of the end game stuff. But there are still some things that we can make here. Let's try and make these tracker tough links. Materials. They want an enchanted weathered harbinger crest. That's going to make it a little bit more difficult to create. But as long as we use good materials here, we can meet the quality 3 requirement. This is going to give us some artisan security, maybe some knowledge points. So let's start this one. Create the item. Boom, hey presto. Complete the order. Now what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to run to the mailbox. Your goodies get sent over to the mailbox to you. And this is where we should get our artisan's metal and likely one of these goodie bags to open. Yes, 10 artisans acuity and a little goodie bag. The goodie bag this time gave us three Aratha's Spear at quality 2. You see, small little reward. Probably not. My concern is that the goodie bag is still not going to make up for the cost of the materials that you might need to throw at these NPC work orders. But if nothing else, getting your hands on some artisans acuity is going to be useful to begin with. So they're slowly, my opinion of this is that they're slowly molding this into a system that might be a little bit more useful. I would like to see something to where it was easier for you to actually gain skill points in your profession. Hopefully one of the rewards will be just that. We seem to have seen recipes very rarely, knowledge points occasionally, presumably as a catch-up system, and the little goodie bags with some materials and occasionally some finishing reagents in them. It'd be nice if it was going to be more easy to find things that are actually going to give us this skill points. 90 or 80 to 100, 90 to 100 for sure. There are very few recipes out there that are only going to give you skill points, and this is going to be where a lot of people get stuck again. This was one of my thoughts with Dragonflight crafting especially. I saw this hundreds of times. Players getting to sort of 70, 80, 90 skill points, and they just had no feasible way of like crossing the finish line without completely specking into a totally different tree. This is something that is still apparently going to be a bit of a thing come the new expansion, where if you are not crafting endgame gear, you are just not going to have a good time filling this bar. So this is maybe where I think NPC Work Orders could still come and help us a little bit. Maybe we are going to have to try and figure out how to get our hands on some of these endgame recipes and keep our fingers crossed still for some skill points. But overall, it's starting to look a little bit better. In this format, with it giving you a little bit of something each and every time, the end game scenario, let's look at it from the perspective of like 3 months, 6 months, 9 months down the line. It might start to feel a lot like mission tables. Something that you'll be able to quickly jump onto with a fully geared, fully leveled up profession character, with all of your tools, with maximum skill, with loads of spec points already attributed, and you might be able to like quote unquote farm these goodie bags. Don't know how lucrative that would potentially be, but it's certainly starting to sort of, you know, Goblin Brain is doing goblin things here, starting to think about, well, if you have many characters that all slowly progress up, the old army approach here, maybe it's going to feel a little bit like mission tables, but this time round with professions. And in a way, it's going to give you some materials, but it's going to cost some materials, so I'm sure it's probably net neutral overall, but we'll have to see. Let me know your thoughts on that down below, boys and girls. It's nice to see that feedback has clearly been heard, and it's nice to see that there were iterations on the basic version of the NPC work orders we saw last week. Here's to hoping in the next few weeks they polish off all of the rough edges and it becomes a really nice, cool little system. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, boys and girls. Consider subscribing if you're new around here. There's going to be plenty of videos, most of which will be focused on the War Within in the next sort of 50 or so days until the expansion goes live. So stick around. Have fun. We'll figure all this stuff out together. But I'll catch you all next time, boys and girls. Have a good one. Peace.